On the floor, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, you're welcome. And
Thank you, sir.
as Mr. Chairman has advised, I will add my voice to say congratulations. My first question is, you know, a macroeconomic policy has largely focused on inflation targeting, and doing so together with maintaining currency stability has led sometimes to higher interest rate, especially on government securities, in an attempt to control the supply of money and the transaction velocity of money. Now, if you look at our securities market, especially on government treasuries, the rate is high, and that is also affecting the short end of the yield curve, which is more or less flattening. And that poses huge threat to the development of the longer tenor bond market. Meanwhile, the finance minister that you're going to support has indicated government's intention to shift from issuing short-term securities and go into issuing long-term securities. Here is the case that from January till now, the securities that government has issued on the Treasury bill market is having bid to cover ratio of about 1, which is indicating oversubscription. And that also suggests that because the rates are high, it is incentivizing people to patronize such government securities at the expense of crowding out the private sector. As you go to the finance ministry to support the finance minister, what advice would you give to the finance minister to work closely with the Bank of Ghana to ensure that the interest rates on government securities in the short term are brought down? Because mainly following the Bank of Ghana's recalibration of the base rate that focuses now on monetary policy, about 40% weight, Treasury bill about 40% rate, how much price is put on government treasuries affects lending rates at the retail, and that is why the interest rate is ticking downwards. What advice are you going to give to the finance minister so that he works collaboratively with the Bank of Ghana to ensure that we have the rates coming down from the government treasury side, the interbank side, and also at the retail side to impact positively on businesses in the country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the long lecture-like question. The honorable member couldn't have said it rightly. Everything he said is spot on, but what I want to draw his attention to is that the finance minister has already started working to complement the effort of the Bank of Ghana to bring down interest rates. We have seen this, that over the last 2 weeks, interest rates on government treasury bills have been going down. And it has gone down by about 400 basis points. What the finance minister said when he appeared before you here is that he's going to use the fiscals to support the Bank of Ghana's monetary policy to achieve results. And one of the things that he's doing that I'm going to support him to continue to deepen is to constrain expenditure. If we are able to increase revenue and bring down expenditure, the gap to finance will go down, and government will not need to borrow more. And as that goes on, we'll be able to bring down interest rate as it is happening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up.
Honorable member, I think there is a question you asked that I wanted to just intervene for a sec. You did say that the oversubscription of the Treasury end of the market means that they are paying high rates. But you do know, I know you are a great economist, you do know that on the long side of things, there's actually no participation, the unavailability of the long end. And also, our being cut out of the external market means that there's over-concentration on the Treasury end. And that explains the reason why, in addition to yours, why the rate is very high there. So it's not just the one point that you lifted, but there are multiple reasons why the situation is what it is. Just a contribution.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And just by way of follow-up, I agree with you in some parts, except to suggest that when there is over-concentration, that is patronage of the government securities is high, it could be due to the higher rates. It could also be due to what the chairman has said. But to bring it down, government must also signal. When it happens that patronage is high and government is also absorbing, it doesn't deter the people patronizing to also stay back. And that is the follow-up question I want to ask to you. If you follow the trend, within the month of January alone, contrary to what we have been told by government, that we want to cut down borrowing and bring down the rates down, this government in 4 weeks has borrowed 38.5 billion cedis in 4 weeks. That is not a good sign to signal rates to come down. But that is not even the thrust of my question. If government decides to slow down on borrowing, which is to the contrary what is happening, how are you going to finance government expenditure if you decide to go against the current borrowing trends and lower the borrowing as you have indicated? How are you going to fund government expenditure?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm not too sure if the information he's given about the quantum of government borrowings is accurate. The briefings that I had indicated that we have borrowed on net basis far lower than what you are quoting, but we will have to interrogate that in due time. But, Mr. Chairman, the question is asking how we are going to fund government programs. In fact, the minister stated these over here, and that is exactly what I will repeat, that we are going to aggressively pursue revenue generations, and we will cut expenditure. As for expenditure, we need to constrain it. Without that, there is no way we will be able to achieve our targets. And the way that the president has started, Honorable Achampo started by giving us some hints, by cutting down the number of ministers by about 24, is signaling that the government recognizes the challenges that we are in. And so everybody will then be whipped in line to follow suit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've exhausted the first question, so I don't want to go back. Otherwise, I was going to provide you details of the week-on-week borrowings to match up to the number I gave. I mean, but your decision.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. You do know that the nominal figure that you have quoted might be different from it is different from the net, because we are talking about Treasury share, where you roll over to pay for maturities and move on. So if you quote 38 as a nominal figure, might not exactly be right, unless you have the numbers to provide us. Yes, the nominal figure and what the net figure was, because you take treasuries to pay off the ones and take more. That's how basically it works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the figures, but I mean, I will take leave of this and then we'll escalate it so that my brother can have a peace of mind. Yeah, exactly. So, Mr. Chairman, that's okay. Honorable, that is not because of rollover. Don't let us argue that. Honorable nominee, you have been on the Finance Committee and you followed the budget. The Ministry of Education budget has moved from 7.5 billion cedis in 2016 to about 22.25 billion cedis in 2024. Out of this, the free SHS budget is 2.8 billion, which is about 11%. Despite this, you continue to hear from government circles, communicators, that the free SHS program is to blame for the huge budget in the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education. But the figures as I've put out here indicate that the free SHS is just about 11% of the total budget, 2.8 as against 25 billion. We've seen the president set up a committee to dialogue on education. Inherent in it could be the suspicion that government wants to review the free SHS program. With this information at hand, are you in a position to advise the finance minister to stay put on the financing of free SHS and suggest other means to ensure there is proper and efficient allocation of the budget at the Ministry of Education?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of any subtle intention to cancel free SHS. And as you said, I would support my minister to provide adequate funding to support education. As to the outcome of the education forum, if Ghanaians are consensus on a particular direction and it becomes government policy, I would support it in any way. But like I said, President Mahama gave Ghanaians the assurance that he would not cancel free SHS, and I know he's a man of his word.
Mr. Chairman, just a simple follow-up. Based on the figures as I have produced, would you agree with me that the free SHS policy is not the main problem for the funding of education in this country? Will you agree with me that?
Mr. Chairman, if I have any concern about free SHS, it will be about its implementation and not the cost implication. Thank you.
My last question, and you are a banker, and you know the role that asset managers play in the efficient and effective allocation of capital. They mobilize funds from the providers of capital, like individuals and corporates, and distribute to institutions which on lend in the form of loanable funds to individuals, businesses, and all of that. What plans do you intend to suggest to the minister to put in place to ensure that the role that asset managers play in this country is enhanced and made more efficient to the benefit of everyone?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would support my minister and SEC to find out what modalities we can have to enhance the capacity of asset managers and asset management companies to appreciate risk and to be able to perform creditably to support the economy as you have enumerated. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on that note, I am done and I wish the nominee very well. I wouldn't say bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. I know that you're looking forward to the budget and it will soon come. Shift to my right again and invite my honorable brother as a subject matter. Subject matter. No, he's here for subject matter.
Subject matter.
Subject matter.
Finance. I'm a finance student. Let me congratulate the nominee, and I know he's doing well. He's doing well because there's my daughter behind him. He is my in-law. Mr. Nominee, your minister, the Minister of Finance, and your good self said severally that you are going to aggressively pursue revenue mobilization. Will you consider expanding the tax brackets to include so many people, so many organizations that do not pay taxes? Will you consider that? Will you want to suggest this to your minister? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would.
Chairman, I'm satisfied with his answer. Thank you.
So, are you done? Oh, no.
If you want me to ask another one, good. Yeah, so my second question is that the nominee, I want you to tell us how you're going to help your minister to prudently manage the debt that you have inherited.
Mr. Chairman, the issues about debt is a very huge challenge for us as a country. And the minister has given a lot of indications that that is going to be one of the areas he's going to focus on. We are in a fund program, and the fund program restricts us from adding onto more debt. We have a program, a scheduled payment that we need to go through. So I'll support my minister to go through the fund program to the end. But most importantly, what we do when we exit the fund program in order not to come back to this challenge is what we all as Ghanaians need to start brainstorming about. And I'll support my minister very seriously in this regard.
Chairman, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. It's now the turn of Honorable Jerry. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Honorable Patrick. Yeah.
Just to congratulate Honorable Ampem and to ask that he assists the minister well to secure the needed funding for the dualization of the roads ongoing, especially on the Accra-Kumasi belt. And I know the Afenyo-Markin stretch too. It's very important to the country. I've worked with him. I used to chair the finance committee, so I know Ampem, and I believe he will assist at well. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. So now, Honorable Jerry, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just like Honorable Patrick Boama said, I've as a chief executive then been before the finance committee on several occasions. And I've seen the posture and demeanor of the honorable nominee. And I want to put it out that he's a fine gentleman. And I pray and hope that he's going to exhibit same fineness in the ministry. Mr. Chair, coincidentally, he happens to hail from Enum, where my wife, the mother, comes from. Yes, my mother-in-law comes from Enum. I was in Enum over the weekend, and yes, for a funeral. And I saw one of his big houses. So I'm just excited to be vetting my in-law, so that if he doesn't bring money for me to take care of his sister, there will be problem in the house. That's all. So just by way of introduction, and I want to congratulate you, honorable nominee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I am happy with this disclosure. And culturally, he owes me. If he has come for my sister, he has to come and pay a kontasekai. So he owes me. But I must say that any big mansion he saw there is not mine.
Yes, that's just by the way, so that's correct on the record. Mr. Chair, so my first question is to find out if the honorable nominee is aware of the withdrawals or cancellations of aid by the United States government, and whatever plans he intends to support his honorable minister with reference to those aids, now that we are having aids cancelled and withdrawn by the United States. What's your take on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, yes, I've come to be aware of the USAID funding that has been curtailed. And I am told we were hoping to get some $156 million or so to finance some programs in the area of health, education, and others. Subsequently, His Excellency President Mahama has instructed the finance minister to look for funding to bridge the gap. This happened at a time that fortunately we are in the process of preparing the 2025 budget, so I'm sure the minister will be able to make provision to bridge the gap. But, Mr. Chairman, this should bring us to the larger conversation about aid. We know that aid to our country has been dwindling over the years. Danida is no longer supporting programs in Ghana as they used to. United Kingdom, for instance, has reduced their aid budget from, I think, 0.75% of GNP to 0.5%. This should tell us that it will get to a time that aid to our country will dwindle probably to zero. The only difference between Danida and other donor funding and that of the USAID is that the announcement about USAID withdrawal came suddenly. But we have seen the trend that aid is dwindling. And so it is important that we begin to plan our lives without aid and see what we can do for ourselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chair, my second question, there is no follow-up. So, do you have an idea of the cost implications of the free tertiary? And we're here when the Minister of Education, Honorable Aruna Idrisu, indicated that parents could proceed with payments and that the awards or the parents will be reimbursed. Is that promise still valid? And the way you are smiling, it looks like you have the money already. Any promise to that effect?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In fact, being a member of Parliament, and I know all of you are aware of the challenge that young ones go through, especially when they have to enter into tertiary institutions for the first time. And so it is not something that I need to talk to you about because we all experience it and we've been helping students. And so that promise to support them for the payment of admission fees is something that I think will go a long way to help the first-year students in our universities. I know some considerations were made, some costing was done in the preparation of the budget, but the variables keep changing. In fact, even the number of students admitted in the universities keep changing. Recently, I heard that KNUST had admitted over 50,000 students. So it is always not possible to give an accurate figure. But we are in the process of preparing the budget, and I am sure that provision will be made about it. With regards to the Education Minister's statement, if you know Honorable Haruna very well, and Honorable Anodon is here, he can testify, a former student leader who is very passionate about student welfare and student issues. So sending him to the Education Ministry, I know that he will do everything possible to support the students in any way that he can. As to whether we start the payment of the admission fees from this year, from last year, or from the September admissions, is an issue that I cannot speak directly to. I don't know whether we will want to consider admissions that happened before President Mahama became president, or we'll start with admissions that happened from the time he became president. I'm sure when I get to the ministry, I'll be able to get accurate answers for you in this regard. Thank you very much.
This is just a follow-up. So can I tell my first-year tertiary students in Wejagbawe that Honorable Ampem is on record to say that before August, he would have received some payments or reimbursements from the government?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't talk about reimbursements. What I am confident about is what this year's budget can accommodate. That is why I said that I am not too sure whether that policy will take retrospective effect or it will happen with the first-year students who will come this year.
My final question, Mr. Chair.
Oh.
So I think I heard you earlier talk about an education forum, and we currently have, there is an organization, or there is another forum that has been organized or is in the offing, which is an economic dialogue. Is it a way of diverting attention and not dealing with the issues, economic issues directly? Or you guys, or the National Democratic Congress, headed by the president, has a master plan?
Mr. Chairman, I think that in our manifesto, President Mahama promised that he would have a national economic dialogue for all of us to brainstorm. And this is intended to build consensus on the way forward. In fact, President Mahama is focused on delivering, but it is always important to carry people along. And so all these fora are to build consensus so that we are all on the same page in the direction that President Mahama intends to send us. And I want to hope and pray that when the time comes, unlike the Sinche consensus, our brothers and sisters on the other side will participate in this one, so we all put our hands together to build a better Ghana, to reset Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, that should be all. Just to wish him well. And I'm excited seeing Honorable Yusuf Jaja by him. That's another very supportive person on the Finance Committee. And I'm hoping to see him at his vetting as well.
Thank you very much. Honorable Umar, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, Honorable Ampem, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I was here with you from 2017 to 2020. I know we did good job as backbenchers. I believe you've been to the ministry and received some briefings. And I would like to know from the briefings, how much debt are we going to inherit your government, or are you going to help your minister to settle? How much debt did you go there to meet? Thank you.
Chairman.
Yes.
The rules are clear that questions should not be asked for which answers are readily available in official record. But you are a member of the transition team, Honorable John Jinapo. You know it. During the State of the Nation address, the president also, former President Akufo-Addo, mentioned it. It was in it. He is not there. He's not there. Don't lead the nominee into temptation. He's not there.
Honorable members, let's make progress, please.
Mr. Chair, just a second, Mr. Chair, with respect. The nominee is a good friend. You know, he's conducted himself so well. And so far, it's admirable. I don't know why my honorable member wants to lead him into temptation. Why? He should just leave him to stay where he is. No. Honorable nominee, please, stay on course and refuse his temptation. Please.
Mr. Chairman, the only reason I want to refuse the temptation is for us to hurry up before Afenyo-Markin comes.
Right. Are you done?
Then I'll change it. Thank you, Chairman, for still indulging me. Yes, honorable. Congratulations. But how about inflation? Why is the having so much? I think our inflational history has not been good. How are you going to help the minister to reduce that kind of high rate of inflation and bring it down to the levels where Ghanaians will appreciate the resetting agenda? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the minister on this platform made a commitment that he intends to bring down inflation to 8% plus or minus 2. And I will support him to achieve this target. It is not going to be easy, but it's achievable. If you look at our inflation figures critically, you see that food inflation is one main driver of our inflation. And so any attempt to bring down inflation must focus on bringing down food inflation. And here we will work with the Agric Minister to boost food production. And also, we are import-dependent country. And so when the cedi depreciates, it has a pass-through effect on inflation, although not perfect. So if we can strengthen the cedi, we would also be succeeding in our quest to bring inflation down. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.